picture in the thing and got paid.
They're famous.
Yeah, they're smart. I have my pins here from last time. We just have to go hunting.
He wouldn't come by and touch me like he did you. He better touch me.
Hope share with you the idea of Denton.
Haven't heard that one.
I don't know. She never responded. It was weird. It's unlike her. Must have gotten lost.
I'd like to bring our meeting to order. It's July 11th, 2022. Tonight our invocation will be provided by Reverend Mark Massey. The Boy Scouts here? Hello? Bueller? Bueller? They're usually lined up at the door, so.
I don't think they're here.
Christina Polish will be leading us in our Pledge of Allegiance. If you would, please stand with me. We're going to have the invocation first. But you can cross your heart if you want. It's okay.
Excuse me.
God bless you. Thank you, Mayor, and all the City Council. Chief, let us bow our heads. Father God, we thank you once again, God, for allowing us to assemble ourselves here one more time. God, we come to give you honor, praise, and glory on tonight. God, we pray, God, that your spirit will be inside of this meeting. Move, God, in a mighty way. Continue to protect our city, protect our communities, watch over us, watch over our children. And God, let us not forget about our first responders and those who protect us on a daily basis. God, we give this to you, and we say thank you now. In Jesus' name we pray, and we all say amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I want to remind everyone that we have sign-up sheets when you come in, so we'll have public comment tonight. That's limited to 3 minutes. We also have a couple public hearings, so if you would like to speak at those, please sign up now because we'll be getting to them very shortly. We want to set the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Mr. Craig, second by Mr. Moore. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. We have 11 items on the consent agenda. Are there any questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Ms. Polish, second by Ms. Harris. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. I would ask that the council join me on the floor for a presentation of a resolution awarding retiring Police Chief Don Roper his badge and service weapons. Would like to recognize our Sheriff, Alan Cloniger, Chief Britton, Gastonia. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys being here.
Tom Mills.
Oh, Tom, sorry. You're important, Tom. Sorry about that.
Got a uniform.
I know, he's incognito. He's undercover. Thank you, Alan. Chief, if you would, come up. Julie. It's a family chief. It's a team effort, right?
Thank you.
That's right. This is a resolution of the City of Mount Holly, North Carolina, awarding our retiring police chief, Don Roper, his badge and service weapon upon his retirement. Whereas General Statute 20-187.2 provides that retiring members of municipal law enforcement agencies may receive, at the time of their retirement, the badge worn or carried by them during their service with the municipality. And whereas General Statute 20-187.2 further provides that the governing body of the municipal law enforcement agency may, in its discretion, award to a retiring member the service weapons of such retiring member. And whereas Don Roper has served as the police chief of the City of Mount Holly Police Department for a period of 9 years, with the past 3.5 being the part-time chief before deciding to move into full-time retirement from the City of Mount Holly on July 31st, 2022. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mount Holly City Council and that the city manager is hereby authorized in accordance with the provisions of General Statute 20-187.2 to transfer to Don Roper the badge worn by him during his tenure as police chief with the City of Mount Holly Police Department, and his service weapons, a Glock 9mm caliber, a Model 45 serial number BLK B987, and a Glock 9mm caliber Model 43 serial number BCF R977 upon his retirement on July 31st, 2022. This resolution is adopted July 11th, 2022.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Would you
you.
like to say a few words?
I not particularly have too much to say other than to just tell you this. I want to thank the council and you, Mayor, for all your support throughout the years. Thank all of the folks that are here today, my friends and members of the community, and colleagues at the Mount Holly Police Department and colleagues from across Gaston County, and really want to say thank you to the Mount Holly community. You know, I was with Gaston for 26 years. That's where I started. I was there for a long time, and coming here, I really, you know, starting something kind of fresh, and the citizens, the community of Mount Holly just really embraced me and my family, Julie and I, and just really made us feel welcome, and I'll never be able to repay that. Mount Holly's a great place, great people. I'm forever indebted. So really just heartfelt thank you. It's been an honor of a lifetime to serve as the Chief of Police for the Mount Holly Police Department. Thank you. Thank you.
Chief, we're definitely going to miss you. You've been tremendous. You're tremendous not only for Mount Holly, but Gaston County and the state. And we wish you the best in your next steps as you move forward. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're going to frame that for you, Chief. That's the
Okay.
reason I left it up there.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. We know where to find you for the next few days. So with all those weapons, we'll be scared not to get it to you. Thank you.
Wow. A lot of people here.
Sorry, David, I didn't see you were here.
He's always around.
I didn't see him. He's got the glasses on. He's hiding out back there. All right, we'll get moving. Presentation of the 2023 Gaston County Tax Reappraisal Update. Chelsea Tarbush. I hope I did that right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
First, I want to thank y'all for allowing us to be here tonight. We have the 2023 countywide reappraisal coming up next year, so we're just trying to get out into the community, show everyone what we have available as far as technology and how you can go about appealing your value if you need to. Ryan Dobbins is our reval coordinator. He's here. He's going to do a quick presentation for you, and then John Stevens is back there. He's our assistant director as well. We have some brochures and stuff here just explaining the process for anybody after the meeting. If you want that, please feel free to snag us outside. We have business cards if anyone has any questions or anything as well.
Hard to follow up a retirement, but we do have the 2023 reappraisal coming up. We have a short slideshow that is on our website. Anybody can obtain it, citizens as well. On our website, there's multiple tools that Chelsea's speaking of that everybody can ensure that their value is what we have. So just a quick overview of what's going on. So our last reappraisal was in 2019. The state requires us to be at a certain assessment level. So if we fall below that threshold, the state will require us to do a reappraisal. They have since sent us that notice. So we were required to do one, but we were already on schedule to do this 2023 reappraisal. As of the last reappraisal, we had about 106,000 pieces of property in Gaston County. Obviously, we're growing. We're at 110,000 pieces of property. So I always do this. I always get ahead of myself and say why the reappraisal before we get to the slide. But like I said, 2019 was our last reappraisal. Department of Revenue has sent the Board of County Commissioners a letter saying that we need to do another one because we have fallen below the sales ratio threshold. So this is our communication plan. We're trying to get the word out that the 2023 reappraisal is coming. We're doing meetings everywhere. We're having, as Miles has requested this meeting, we are getting out there to let people know how they can obtain information about their properties. Ooh, what happened there? So this is an old version, but the meetings are actually, there's far more meetings.
We don't
than
know
that.
the difference, so it's okay.
Okay, yeah, well, I updated this today and apparently it did not save. Because we have, so like Thursday, 1 o'clock, we're going to have a meeting with the employees of the town of Lowell. We will have another meeting that evening in Gastonia, First Baptist Church on Union Road. If anybody would like to attend that, we can go into a more in-depth conversation about the reappraisal. Here's your township area. Obviously, you guys live in the Riverbend Township. Your county commissioner, Chad Brown, correct? He's who your contact is for this area. Like I said, this is the median sales ratio over the last year. We're looking at, at the beginning of 2021, we're looking at about a 78% sales ratio. So that's our assessment divided by the sale price. So we're way low. Going forward, you can see the trend going down. We're getting further away from our assessment to what properties are selling for.
So in other words, it's going to go up.
We don't know. We're
come
not
on.
there yet.
Yeah,
We're not
okay.
there yet.
We're trying to prepare these
We
people.
are
We're not-
preparing for that values now. This is the sales activity going on in Gaston County. You can see how much density we've got from sales from 2021 to now. Pretty sure this is imagery over here, which are only 65 and older community, but definitely going up as far as how many sales we are using and analyzing. Number of sales, again, so 2016, 17, and 18 were all used for the 2019 reappraisal. This is the 2020 number of sales that we're looking at. So we're looking at from 2019, 20, and 21, we've almost doubled the amount of sales, in the final year going forward. So these are the tools that we have generated. So this is basically our property search engine. It's known to us as Portal. You can find it on our website. If you type in "We Value Gaston 2023," that's where that will populate. Very easy, just like Google. Property search, you either parcel number, address, owner, all of which will come out of our system, and it'll take you right to the property. This is what it'll look like. This is a picture of a house that somebody owns. It'll tell you value, show you where it is on the map. Comp sales. This is our new comper for citizens. So basically the entire, community can go in there, search their property and see all the sales that we look at for valuing their property.
Is this something that, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is interesting. Is it something that would only be available after the revaluation, or is this available now so they can see what to expect potentially?
So this is live. It will not show their new value. It will
No, but it'll give them the comps.
Yes, they can see the sales that are going on currently in their neighborhood. And it'll give them time to, prepare, going forward. Hey, I know I have an identical home to my neighbor. He just paid $400,000 for it. I pretty much know I should be right there on that $400,000 range because of what's going on. Now, it's also a good tool for them to use so that they can say, well, my house is identical. Why is there such a disparity between our two values? So this will be something that everybody can use. You can see the aerials. So that's, and I'll go into it. So right here is pictometry. This is on the same place. If you go to pictometry, it'll pull up the aerials. So say you've removed something that we see on the aerials is not there anymore. We need to be made aware of that. And so in this, you can appeal it. So there's a property survey that lets you know that, hey, something's off on my property. I need somebody to come out here, so you can request an appraiser to come make a field visit and see your property, and so that we can get it listed accurately. Like I said, 110,000 pieces of property, and we're down to 6 appraisers. So, we've got a lot of work to do, and we can't always be 100% accurate, but we will be. This is community. So community does the same thing, but it's a lot more analytical. Shows the entire neighborhood. It'll, it's got a sales tab as well, and you can also use Google Maps and Street Viewer on there so that you can see what's going on in your neighborhood. The tax value appeal. So like I said, if you're looking at your data on our side and you see something that's wrong, you see something that's going on in the neighborhood, this doesn't make sense, we have the appeal forms out there. This will be put in, how to appeal your value will be put into every property notice that we send out, and the reasons for it. Now, just because you appeal it does not mean your value is going to change. There's 3 possibilities. What in the world? Oh. This is the one with the video in it. Let's not play that. Sorry guys, brought the wrong one. Property under appeal. 3 things can happen when you put your property under appeal. Value can stay the same, the value can go down, or the value can go up. Like I said, there's going to be things that we don't have picked up, or there's, or things that have been removed or displaced, or we may have other reasons why your value is accurate. But as Chelsea mentioned, we are going to be available outside after this. If there are any questions further from the citizens or from y'all, we'll be glad to go over those. And if you would like to ask questions now.
Does anybody have any questions? Mr. Meadows.
So you're going through this process. When will the city of Mount Holly staff and council by extension have some idea what the actual value is? Because our budgeting actually starts, I think, in a couple of months, even though we just finished our last one. We start pretty early.
Right.
And, we'll be making decisions in February, March.
So
and it sounds like we're not going to have your numbers. Is what I'm
No,
guessing.
so numbers will not be available to anybody until notices are sent out. So January 1 is the effective date of the reappraisal. We will not have numbers for you available then. We may have a little bit of knowledge of what's going on closer to that time period that we would be able to give, but we can't give value until the effective date of the reappraisal. Notices will be sent out the second week of February, so everybody will have their new notice then. And I know that's after your budget period, but that's what we're looking at.
So one other question, could you explain to me the trigger? 'Cause one of the questions coming in today is you can do it every 8, we're doing it every 4, that seems to be on the aggressive side, and you're saying that there's some regulation we have to meet. Can you explain how that works? Because I'm not 100% understanding that.
So the state requires us to be within a range of sales ratio. So 85 to 115%. We've fallen below that. So our ratio, based on what the sales are versus what our assessments are, so we're below that threshold. We have to do a reappraisal. State requires 100% of market value. So, 100% of that sale price. So we've fallen below that threshold, which is triggering the reappraisal.
When you say the state, what department does that
Department of
come
Revenue.
from? Revenue.
And just to follow up on the previous question.
Do you mind stepping to the mic, because we're
I'm sorry.
online,
Yes.
so people will be
Just to
listening.
follow up on your previous question, the tax office will be reaching out to the municipalities and cities in December to have a more in-depth meeting with them to discuss what we're seeing in numbers prior to the January 1, 2023 reappraisal. As Ryan said, notices will be mailed out in February, so you will have time before your budget to prepare.
So I was just asking, so even if we were to advocate for a longer period, say every 6 years instead of every 4, there's state statutes and Department of Revenue are driving us to do this now.
Right, that is correct.
And it would have to be countywide.
We can't reappraise just certain municipalities. We have to do countywide, and because we've fallen below that threshold, we have to move forward.
So when we get pushback from our constituents saying you're just driving this up to raise more taxes, we don't have much choice because the state dictates when we have to set our budgets and how we set our budgets, and we have very little say at the local level, correct?
That is correct. I will say that it's a two-sided coin to the effect of we only set the value, we don't set the rates. The rates determine the taxes that people pay with the value, and that's something that we have to tell citizens is we are valuing your property based off the market today that we're seeing, which can change like the stock market. It can go up and down, So the rate is what determines what they pay, and that's what most people want to complain about. They're not really appealing their value, they're appealing what they're paying in taxes. So that's something that, that's a piece that's handled on the municipality and the county level of what affects that taxpayer. So that's why we're doing these reappraisal meetings now and trying to get out and meeting the citizens where they are. We're going throughout the county, meeting with anybody and everybody, HOAs, civic organizations, you name it, we're out there trying to, educate people of what's to come.
So I'll behave, but there's always a cart and horse question.
Gotcha.
So, we set the rate, but you set the value, but you set your value after I've already determined my rate with my time in most of the case. So I don't have a final value. I'm not, let me stop before I get argumentative, but this is always a challenge for us on our side because we don't have all of the data complete when we're trying to do, particularly in an evaluation year. So it becomes difficult at the municipal level to try to set a fair budget considering rate when you don't know all of the information. And I've seen situations where we've already adopted a budget before we ever get like the commercial piece, which is a big part of the collections in that. So and we were one of the only in the last evaluation to actually reduce our tax rate as a council. So we're sensitive to what our folks are paying, particularly with the rate piece in we all know what's going on in the real estate market. So just trying to figure out how we manage that in a way that's fair to our citizens. And there's multiple parts between the state, the county, and us. And same as you're saying, we only control one piece as well, which is the rate, but often don't know what yours is going to be before we get set. So anyway.
I would just say that's where we would stay in constant communication between the county and the municipalities. We're very transparent. We'll give you what we can. And then, these numbers go into effect January 1 of 2023. You normally do your budget, your fiscal year's end of June 30, so your rates will go into effect July 1. Taxes are due September 1st of next year. So this does not affect this year's taxes that will be mailed out in a few weeks. So it would all be based on next year. And the value for next year, that will be for the next 4 years until the next reappraisal, unless we fall below the threshold and we're mandated to do it sooner or above the threshold.
Anyone else have a question? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, we appreciate
Appreciate you being here. Next item is public hearing. Public hearing to consider an application submitted by Johnny H. Denton for a text amendment to the automated car washes with conditions in the B2 Neighborhood Business District. Mr. Beal.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Staff had received an application. We've been working with Mr. Denton, who's the applicant, who's the engineer for Mr. Patel, on a text amendment. Automated car washes are not allowed in the B2 Business District. As you know in your packet, there's particularly only 2 areas. A zoning was established in these areas in '96. That was before the road widening project and some other things. So we see that these are very small areas located around the former pantry site, the old Lint Springs house on Oak Grove Street, and around the farm supply. So we see these areas going away over time. They're more highway commercial. There is a buffer within certain neighborhoods in the Catawba Heights district that's important. But we reviewed the application as a special use. This establishes the process. This does not approve any car wash tonight. This just establishes the process before the Zoning Board of Adjustment, if council so chose to approve Note 35. As automated car washes shall comply with the following minimum standards, shall conform with the architectural design standards found in 5.9C of the zoning ordinance, that's the B2 district, shall have hours of operation limited at 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., shall be manned by at least 1 attendant during all hours of operation, shall direct all lighting away from roadways and residential areas, shall conform to the required landscaping buffer yards as outlined in Chapter 10, Section 10.5 of the zoning ordinance. That various buffer areas, screening, obviously appropriate screening. We wanted to add one more after talking with the applicant, shall maintain an on-site office. So it's just not like a shotgun style, and that's not their plans. Their plans are to have an on-site office. And we would add that as number 6 if council so chose. The Planning Commission held a public hearing regarding the matter. No one signed up to speak. No one was present to speak. And they made a unanimous recommendation that the Note 35 be approved by council.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go out of our regular meeting into public hearing. Motion by Ms. Harris, second by Ms. Polish. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. We are now in the public hearing. There's no one signed up to speak in the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion to go out of our public hearing back in our regular meeting. Motion by Mr. Moore, second by Ms. Shoemaker. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. Council, do you have any questions for Mr. Beal or the applicant? Does council wish to take action? Mr. Craig?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, second by Ms. Polish. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. Thank you. Next is a public hearing on the question of annexation pursuant to General Statute 160A-31 for a petition submitted by Dust Stop Filtration LLC for a 7-acre tract of land located at 1214 West Catawba Avenue. Ms. Anders.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So the city received a petition for annexation submitted by Dust Stop Filtration for the parcel of land at 1214 West Catawba Avenue, and the public hearing was advertised in the newspaper for tonight. And I'll just say that if the council wishes to move forward with annexation, it's the staff's recommendation to delay a decision until an annexation agreement can be completed with the applicant, which we would anticipate bringing forward next month, at the meeting next month.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to go out of our regular meeting into public hearing. Motion by Ms. Shoemaker, second by Ms. Polish. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. There's no one signed up for the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion to go out of our regular meeting back into our out of our public hearing back in our regular meeting. Motion by Ms. Shoemaker, second by Mr. Moore. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. So hearing that, we will put this on the agenda for August, because we can't make a decision unless there's an annexation agreement, but you can't approve the annexation without approving the rezoning either. Does that make sense? So how do you want us to proceed? I mean, I don't know what council's wishes are, but let's assume the council wants to move forward. Do you want to vote to do that after we do the rezoning?
I would say that you could put both of the issues, the annexation and rezoning, on the agenda for August, because any rezoning would be contingent upon the annexation anyway, so it would not go into effect without the annexation anyway.
Right, but I understand that, but what I need is direction from council. Do we need an annexation agreement? What kind of motion do you want to do that?
I don't know that we would necessarily need a motion, because you're not actually approving any action tonight.
Is council in favor of the annexation as long as the rezoning goes through? Is there any opposition to it? All right,
So
that's consensus.
I have all the direction I need. Thank you, Mayor.
Sure. Number 3, public hearing to consider a rezoning application submitted by Dust Stop Filtration for the same parcel of land. Mr. Beal.
Yes, staff received the rezoning annexation petition. Been working with NC Filtration, which is a family-owned business. They supply residential, commercial air filter applications. Work with clients like Dale Earnhardt Jr. For Filter Time is the company. 180 employees across three plants. They've been a valuable member of our community, but they're not in our city limits. So this is basically will give them as a water and sewer user. They're currently a water user. They have an aging plant. These two plants are connected with Belmont Textile Machinery. Plan is to do away with that and tie into city water. There'd be no extension of public utilities to the site. It's simply a clean out, so it's pretty straightforward. The Planning Commission heard the rezoning matter at their meeting, recommended unanimously that council approve the rezoning to light industrial from the county's light industrial designation, which is I-1, to L1 Mount Holly. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Entertain a motion to go out of our regular meeting into a public hearing. Motion by Ms. Shoemaker, second by Ms. Polish. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. There's no one signed up for the public hearing. We will go out of our public hearing back in our regular meeting. I need a motion. Motion by Ms. Polish, second by Ms. Shoemaker. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. Council, is it your direction for the attorney to move forward with the expectation of rezoning and annexing this property? Okay. Next, public hearing on the question of annexation pursuant to General Statute 160A-31 for a petition submitted by Catarayan LLC for a 4.94 acre tract of land located at 1212 West Catawba Avenue. Ms. Anders.
Thank you. This is an adjacent property and related to the other annexation petition that we were just reviewing. And so it is also staff's recommendation that if council wishes to move forward with annexation, that council delay a decision until next month's meeting, when we anticipate bringing forward an annexation agreement.
Entertain a motion to go out of our regular meeting into public hearing. Motion by Ms. Shoemaker, second by Ms. Harris. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. There's no one signed up for the public hearing, so I'll entertain a motion to go out of our public hearing back in our regular meeting. Motion by Mr. Moore, second by Ms. Shoemaker. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. I assume that council feels the same about this one as they did the last one. They're this is Belmont Textile for people who don't know where this is. You got direction there, Marie?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Shook their head. Public hearing to consider a rezoning application submitted by Catarayan for the same tract of land. Mr. Beal.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Belmont Textile Machinery Company, or Catarayan LLC. They're a full design machine shop for the carpet and upholstery industry. They have 18 full-time employees, a few part-time employees as well. Same issue, they've been in business for 67 years now. They want to get rid of this aging treatment plant, tile into city services. We do not see any cost to the city with this, and the planning board made a unanimous recommendation that council approve the rezoning from I-1 and OLC, which is office light commercial, for these two parcels, to LI light industrial Mount Holly.
Entertain a motion to go out of our regular meeting into public hearing. Motion by Ms. Shoemaker, second by Mr. Craig. Thank you, Mr. Craig. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's always nice when somebody else does it. It's really good. No one has signed up for the public hearing. There's a shock. So entertain a motion to go out of our public hearing back in our regular meeting. Motion by Ms. Paula, second by Mr. Meadows. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes. Council given direction for rezoning and annexation of this property as well. Okay, we'll have it on our next August agenda. There's no one signed up for public comment. Thank you, Mr. Bill. Under old business, Anne Marie, appreciate that. Update on short-term rentals, Airbnb, Mr. Lowe.
Hi, everyone. You know, we had two rezoning or two code enforcement cases that were about or regarding two Airbnb properties. So because of that, staff did research regarding how to regulate them. So basically, I can kind of break down three concepts: what we cannot do, what we can do, and then maybe next steps. So basically, the School of Government put out a bulletin that kind of broke down basically what you cannot do. And what you cannot do is set up like a lottery system. The city of Wilmington did this. It was struck down in April by the North Carolina Court of Appeals. So that's something that you cannot do. But what we can do, and may I just reiterate that we can and do have policies under our current zoning ordinance and our current code of laws to address the issues that we're having with these two properties as well as the other rental properties that we have in town. So as it relates to what's in our zoning ordinance, we can require zoning permits, and that's one of the issues that these two properties did, a box they didn't check. Zoning permits, we require zoning permits for any new use, change of use, alterations, upfits, etc. And what's usually / always included with the zoning permit is a sketch plan or a rendering that would provide setback information, height information, and also to see if it would be a valid use. That wasn't provided. So anyway, so that is an option that we have under our zoning ordinance to enforce the rental properties that we have and address these two situations. Also, we have a noise ordinance which starts enforcement around 11, and also parking standards that we can enforce for rental properties and just properties in general. And then going forward, if it would be the council's will or interest in future regulation, we could go further. Currently, short-term rentals are permitted by right in all of our residential zoning districts. So one option would be to limit where the short-term rentals can locate or populate, or where they're permitted. Another option would be to update Articles 7, so we can add development standards. So additional development standards would be setting parking limitations and requiring that folks have, or operators have, insurance, and also prohibiting outdoor events. And but full circle though, and we do have the ability and the standards in our current ordinance to work with the current situation, but those are two options that would be available if the council would want to move forward with future regulations. And on the two properties, we sent them both letters in June. They have not, last Friday was their deadline to get back with us. They didn't get back with us. We haven't seen any feedback from the owners and the operators of both places. So, but basically to rectify the situation, they would have to submit zoning permits to the city for review, and then from there it would go to the county for building inspections. And also, and as well, one of the properties on Catawba, one of the structures on Catawba, they split it and made a duplex. So that was something they kind of basically, made an error there. So the scenario is they would have to rezone a portion of the property to an area that would support a duplex. So that's their current situation, and they have not gotten back with us. So, but.
So can I ask you a question? Paul, thanks for the update.
Hey, no problem.
Appreciate that. What are the remedies if they don't respond?
It would just be further enforcement action, and then we would have to reach out to probably the city attorney to figure out what options that we have, because like the letter that both letters that we sent were like super like detailed and like bullet point what you need to do. Zoning permits were sent to them, so we would have to reach out to the city attorney to see what our future or next steps would be.
Okay, so we're there though, right? I mean, we're kind of there because the 30-day, or whenever the day, that was Friday.
They had 15 days to.
So you're now going to the city attorney next to figure out next steps is what I'm hearing. Is that right?
That could be civil penalties or potentially a stop work order.
Okay.
Because it's the use that is in violation of at least that one duplex that they cut in half. The other property, they just had a legal deck that they just need to get permitted. But as it relates to that one structure that they turned into a duplex, that is a zoning violation, and that's not a permitted use on that property.
Gotcha. So, so from here, there's a couple things that are available to the residents on that street. One, I heard you say, is no parking on the road. Is that correct?
Well, you can park on the road unless they have no parking signs on the road, and I understand.
How do we get those?
That would probably be streets and solid waste.
I'm going to just turn to Mr. Braswell and see if you could address that.
I think that would be through our it's the sign traffic control. Yeah, I was trying to think of the exact name of it, but the traffic control ordinance policy where you'd have to put a street sign in, so staff could initiate that if we needed to, similar to what we've done on like YMCA Drive, for example. We put no parking on YMCA recently because trucks are parked out there. So we filled out the form and then took it through the process to bring it to council. We can do that for no parking.
So what I'm hearing is our current enforcement activity is designed to address this now that it was brought to our attention. And there's one more remedy we could take further, which is the sign for no parking there. And that would assist with the dangerous issue of the traffic coming around.
That's correct, yes, sir.
Right. Mr. Meadows?
Can I try? So first I want to say I, for one, am not in support of multifamily in the middle of a single-family neighborhood, so that is not a solution in my opinion. So, staff, unless you get an application, I wouldn't want to see us bring that forward. But when this was brought forward, I just kind of wanted to enumerate what we have done once it was brought to our attention. We took code enforcement action. So we went out and examined the property and did an inspection and found violations. So we're working through that process. That led to a zoning reinforcement where we discovered that there's an issue in the property that shouldn't be there in the first place, which led to building permits not being pulled on a couple of different things. And the solution to that is to get after building permits, which the duplex will likely have to be remodified or torn down to meet building code permits. And then the fourth thing that you talked about that has been used or can be used going forward is the noise ordinance. And then the additional action that we've discovered, at least to date, is to address the parking on the street. So when this group of citizens came forward with an issue, we heard that and have taken at least 4 different actions and a 5th on the way. So I just want to make sure that folks understand that we're doing everything we can. I would probably be frustrated because it's slow, but that's government, right? So, yeah, but anyway, that just kind of summarizing that where we're at. But.
Yes, sir.
Have you guys tried to contact Airbnb directly?
We have not, but I think that would be a good idea to reach out to them to let them know that one of their operators is kind of working out of, what would be proper protocol.
Yeah, because they have a no tolerance policy. So if someone's throwing parties and there's multiple complaints, they'll just take them directly away pretty much off their site, and so that takes care of one part. And then I don't know if there's a bad get tagged or something where VRBO something happens where they get tagged and put like a bad record or something on there, but I know that to contact an Airbnb would definitely be a good start.
I can make that happen.
Maybe talking to city attorney.
Ms. Harris.
Well, I just wanted to say, I don't understand how this guy got away with everything he got away with. I mean,
putting a duplex in a single-family lot and rezoning that, I'm certainly not voting for that.
Well, nobody here is going to support it.
Well, I'm just saying,
It happens all the time, by the way.
well,
You know, because people try to get away with everything.
Well, people build without permits all the time.
Go ahead, Phyllis, I'm sorry.
well, I mean, it's okay. I just don't understand how all of this, came about and what's to stop somebody else from doing this to us. We just, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
I think you'd be surprised.
Well, I probably would, Brian. I
Just
probably
because
would.
how many people put decks and buildings up and don't say a word, and the only time we become aware of it is a complaint.
So,
And that's unfortunate.
so this guy, he's going to have to do away with that duplex.
Well, I mean,
That's what I want to see happen.
Well, there's remedies going to be in place, and he's going to pay a price for what he did. He's not going to get away with it. It's just going to be one of those situations where they tried to get away with stuff that they didn't want to pay for and didn't want to get permits for because they'd have to pay more to get it done, and they got caught.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So if we want to talk a little bit of the technicalities there, when you make modifications to a structure, you need a building permit. And at the conclusion of a building permit, you get a certificate of occupancy. So what these guys have done have gone and made modifications that require permits. And once the building department is made aware of that through our code enforcement actions, what will end up happening is the property will not be able to be habited. And there are several penalties that one can encounter. I don't know them off the top of my head, but they will have difficulty going forward unless they move that back to a single-family structure and have it all permitted. And if I remember correctly, if you do work without building permits, you get a fine going in. I think they charge you double the permit fees to start with to get it corrected, and then they're going to do the inspections to make sure that it's all back to correct. But what I would like to say as well is that the public process is working. Our citizens came forward with an issue. We heard that. We had at least 4 different ordinances on the books that we were able to use currently to go out and address this. And I like what Ivory was raising, in that Airbnb is interesting because not only do you get to rate the host, but the host actually gets to rate you. So if you've got people who are throwing parties and acting out, they'll get thrown out of Airbnb too. You only get 1 or 2 cracks at that before you get thrown out of the system as well. And if I recall, when we first went through this before, we actually get a report from Airbnb monthly about what the because they actually pay the room taxes and all of that go to our TDA. So I mean, Airbnb has actually been pretty good on their part about sending us an administrative report, paying the fees they're supposed to pay. I think that was kind of how we found out about them in the first place. We got a report and all these addresses and fees, and we're like, well, what's this? Yeah. So, sorry.
No, not at all. I just think that, would it be helpful for all of the folks here to call Airbnb and complain to them?
I mean, that would be.
I would think, get the number, get the address, get their website, y'all just load them up. Tell them we said so. You don't need our permission, that's something great to do, and I think it would be awesome if y'all did. So that would help take care of an issue right there. Thank you. Anything else from council on this? All right. Next is a motion for closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143318. Are you already making the motion? Is that what you're doing? Oh, point 11A, 3, 5, and 6. Motion by Mr. Meadows, second by Mr. Craig. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. We're in closed session.
Just trying to keep things in for the
I'm just going to make a recording.